Yep, we're going to talk about it. But first, let's define what fame is. Fame, the state of being known or talked about by many people, especially on account of notable achievements and skills, etc. And while we're at it, let's talk about a celebrity. A famous person. On today's menu, we'll be talking about internet fame and unfame, old fame and celebrity status, and what it means to live within these barriers, whether you like it or not. Internet fame and unfame. The internet is a cycle. Things come and go so fast that we don't have the time to process what is happening most of the time. Like, we can be talking about memes, culture, news, stories, anything that goes viral. Nowadays, it kind of feels like it's over the moment you realize it's happening. And we recycle through these points like we are in a race. Next, the rise of influencers. It has been happening since the early 2000s. And yet, the term influencer or influencer marketing can be traced back to the 1930s. And it can even be traced back further. As I was saying, the term influencer has been alive for more than we think. Only nowadays, every single person who has the privilege of owning a smartphone can become an influencer or a social media person. And it can be quite easy. Just say your piece online and you can go from 0 to 1 million like this. Or you can go from 1 million to 0 just as fast. And why is that? The rise and fall of influencers. Let's just talk about the act of canceling someone. These little hashtags, Jimbo James is over party kind of thing. Creating rumors about someone else to make them lose face. Fame as we know it today is fragile and easily taken away. And once it's gone, very few can have it back the same way they had before. This new fame is algorithmic in nature. The more people watch something, the more people will be watching the same thing. For example, there's a certain video on TikTok, for example, that's very controversial, and a lot of people have a lot to add to this take. And the more people have a lot to say about this take, more people will come and share their opinion. And at the end of the day, the more comes, it's a vicious cycle. It always comes back to the more people who watch, the more people will be watching, and etc. This type of fame is hyper fragmented. It burns easily, especially if that fame was born through relatability, being relatable, being a normal person talking about normal things, and suddenly you can relate to me, you can relate to this other person. Oh, we're the same. So once a content creator gains fame or notoriety online, sometimes their lifestyles kind of forge around this newfound fame, and they begin to change based on their new lifestyle brought by their newfound fame. In a way, it creates a dissonance between the content creator and their audience. So is the change a bad thing? Not necessarily. It just means, oh, I grew, I'm growing, and I'm allowed to be enjoying what I'm doing. I'm allowed to live okay with the new money I have or the new type of fame I have. So why does this person that the audience always viewed as a friend suddenly feel so unattainable now? It's like watching a friend change. Sure, the change can be good, but I knew you before the change, and honestly, I kind of liked you better before you changed. Like, it feels like I don't know you anymore. And that, my friend, is due to parasocial relationships. And once again, that term is not new. Horton and Wohl explored it in 1956 by reviewing the interaction between media users and media figures. And because nothing is ever new, parasocial relationships often existed before media. What are you talking about? What do you mean? What do you mean they existed before social media? People used to, and still do to a certain extent, form bonds with political figures, gods, and spirit. Psychologically, parasocial relationships can feel intense. On one hand, you can form a sort of bond with someone you look up to, and yet you know them through a screen. The brain cannot make the distinction between a real relationship and a parasocial relationship. But intellectually, we know that this relationship, this parasocial relationship, is one-sided. The brain cognitively recognizes the emotions and the bond from the parasocial relationship as the same form of bond we develop in a real life relationship. So, how does this affect our mind? How does it work? The difference with social media is that the power is held by the audience over their favorite content creator, influencer. You know it. If I don't like something about you, I can make you change by withholding my support or actively disagreeing with you on your platform. And I can just take a lot of people and be like, oh my god, this person said that. Okay, let's rally into this big echo chamber and be like, that person's bad, that person did something bad, and suddenly it's overwhelming. So, that power can be dangerous, damaging, and in a way, addicting. Old fame and the celebrity status. Old fame has never been in danger. It's still very much alive and thriving. It's gate-kept, tightly protected with bubble wrap. You can see through it, but you can never touch it. It's scarce. And the public knows it. We know it. We know how to keep our distance from it. It's even encouraged to not think about it too much. It's something sacred. Old fame is not tangible. It's glam, it's red carpets, it's long shiny dresses, and gigantic mansions. Or is it fame before the internet? How did we get famous before the internet? How was fame measured before the numbers on social media? I'll tell you. Before the internet, you had to be discovered through your talent. Kind of similar to nowadays, but instead, you had to be at a bar, on the street, or just through sheer luck. Or maybe a known parent already, or a very, very rich uncle. Money had to be thrown at you and stick long enough for it to double or triple if you were lucky. Can we call it luck, though? Old fame was, and still is, pretty mysterious. Almost like a myth. Marilyn Monroe often comes to mind when we think of old Hollywood fame. Do we know everything about her? No. Do we know some very specific moments in her career? Yeah. So this old fame, why is it so hidden in a way? Who gets to have it and who gets to invest in it? Back then, the big companies had the power. They could put your song on the radio. If you were a pop star, they could put your song there. And every single person with a radio, a car, or just like a place to live, and that place had a radio, even if it wasn't yours, could hear your song. There was no escaping. Only consuming what these wanted you to consume. Old fame was an etiquette. It still kind of is. It's like a celebrity, you're like, it was kind of like the oil stuck on those ducks from the very like specific dish soap commercial. It was hard, and it is hard to remove once it's stuck inside your body. It would grow with you until you burned and rekindle like a flame for a small moment to remember what you did, never who you were. The flame consumed you. That's why it feels so mysterious. That's why we talk about it with the tip of our tongue burning a little bit. But the flame you held so close inside would eventually die out too. Like everything does. Unless you're very, very lucky. What it means to live within these two barriers, whether you like it or not. In certain parts of the world today, some may deal with a storm, heavy rain, a heat wave perhaps, or a blizzard, usually in Canada, or a mix of everything. Make sure to seek shelter. If any of these conditions happen or don't, I cannot tell you what to do. Nowadays, fame is more like the weather. Everyone is affected by it in some way, shape, or form. Some people love the rain, while others may fear storms. And some people are born inside the sturdiest of shelters, while other people live through the harshest of winters before their 4th birthday. Don't look too closely at these allegories, just you catch my drift, right? Now, fame is accessible. It's in your hands. And it's ingrained in you the moment you realize and you see someone exactly like you succeed with it. How many likes did you get on your post last week? How many views did your video on TikTok get? How many subscribers do you have on YouTube? It's kind of like that one Black Mirror episode, Nosedive, I think. You give people scores, and the higher your score is, the higher you stand within society. Except today, your score is how many people watch your life through a screen and how many comments on your body you can get in a day. Fun, right? Today, more people are living on the internet, making content and sharing parts of their lives for everyone to see. And some are trying very hard to stay outside of it. They don't want to have anything to do with it. But as I mentioned earlier, the weather affects every single one of us. You could potentially, very most likely, end up on the internet despite your best efforts. You could be seen by millions of people despite trying not to be seen. And it simply starts with a cellular break perhaps, or someone didn't like your shirt when you were standing just before them at a coffee shop, like in the line, or you were reading a book that's now a bit too mainstream and you were obviously performing by reading it alone in a park. The nervous system does not cope well with the potential of being seen constantly hanging above our heads. We are in a fight or flight mode every time we go out. Our outfits are curated to the T, because what if I end up on somebody else's vlog? I want to look good. It's not easy to live with the pressure of what if I am being perceived more than I want to today. In a way, we are always performing, talking to an imaginary friend with the camera of our phone and sharing things that we would rather share with a friend. Yet sometimes talking to our phones feels easier than being vulnerable in front of said friends, because these friends, you can truly see them and you can read their expressions. Old fame is still prevalent. It's still there in the face of magazines and movies and TV series with too much VFX to understand what really is going on in the story. And new fame is there every day, simmering, seeping into the cracks of a broken society that seems so hell-bent on pretending that everything is a-okay, with a nice little fancy belt just to hold it together. I've lived through weird weather situations with my videos, and how I had to stop checking the numbers, how I had to disable entire comment sections because it was affecting my mental health. I've dealt with being perceived in a way that I've never perceived myself before, and we all do that to some degree. How do we live in a world where microfame is always possible? But hey, it's not like I know anything. I'm just a girl with an internet connection. And we talked about it.